What's going on, everybody? Broken Games HDR back at it again with another video. So it's been confirmed that Helldivers 2 will be going to Xbox on August 26th. Not into Game Pass as of yet, at least. It's probably one of those games where further on down the line it will go to Game Pass. But it's just going to Xbox right now. Um, now, this is the first PlayStation published and PlayStation owned IP that is going to Xbox, if my memory serves me correct, if I'm not mistaken there. Um, because there's been other games that have been published by PlayStation that they don't own, and maybe through some contractual obligation have gone to other platforms. Um, like MLB The Show, they publish that, they make that game, but they obviously don't own MLB. That's just licensed. Um, with like Lego Horizon, that is something that they own. They own the IP to that. But specifically, I'm just talking about going to Xbox. So this was this was surprising to me, only because not because it was going to another platform. I always felt like it was going to another platform, but I honestly thought it was going to be Nintendo Switch 2. And a lot of people are gonna, a lot of people uh always question why I thought it would go to a Nintendo platform versus an Xbox platform. And the simple answer is I thought they were always going to do what financially made sense. And these live service games are to make money. And by the way, this is PlayStation's only successful live service game that's going to another platform. I should mention that also. Um and listen, I'm not trying to argue about this. I don't need people to get emotional when I say this. Uh People on Xbox don't buy games, right? They have been conditioned to experience pretty much everything through Game Pass, right? Xbox has made their identity Game Pass, a subscription service. So the install base of Xbox is already really low. That's not opinion, that's fact. And they've adjusted their fan base to not have to buy anything. That's not a, I'm not shitting on the fan base by saying they don't buy games. They don't have to. All right. So let's not. "Oh, it's not true. Come on, please spare me. Let's not do it. Let's move past it, right? So with that fact, that's why I always thought like Helldivers 2 would make more sense that they would want to put it on the Nintendo platform because I feel like the revenue yield would be higher on Nintendo Switch 2. Yes, I believe there is even though and another argument is people argue that, oh, you think that Helldivers 2 would sell more on Xbox than it does on Nintendo Switch? Do I think it would sell more on Nintendo Switch 2 than it does on Xbox? Absolutely. Sell? Yes. I think it would sell more on Nintendo Switch 2 than Xbox. Um, if it was in Game Pass, which is not sales, then there would be more people playing it, right? But it's not going to Game Pass. And I think a lot of people are giving another argument is a lot of people are giving Xbox its former identity as to why they think that it going Helldivers 2 going to Xbox makes a lot of sense, and a lot of players on Xbox would play it. But the whole because people are talking as if Xbox is still seen and still is the shooter box. The shooter box was once Xbox identity. It hasn't been the shooter box for a very long time. When you look at Xbox's lineup of recent games that have come out and games that are coming out in the future, it's not a whole bunch of shooters per se. It's barely any shooters. Honestly, it's mainly uh a bunch of Western RPGs. Some of them have shooting mechanics, but they're not shooters. So that's a long lost identity for Xbox as the shooter box. That's not it anymore. Nobody looks at Xbox as the platform that's like, oh yeah, if you want to play shooters, that's where you go. That's not its identity anymore. So that's not really relevant. Um, its identity is Game Pass, some Western RPGs, and whatever else. It's like just the general box, honestly. So I don't think that applies. And like I said, I just feel like people on the Nintendo platform buy games. We know that for a fact. So that's why I found this surprising. Maybe not necessarily that it went to Xbox at all. I was surprised I went to Xbox first, I guess. And maybe I thought like maybe Xbox would be a far back priority if it was a priority and if it was something they wanted to do at all, right? So I always thought they would do whatever made financial sense. Not I never thought that any of this stuff was impossible, but I thought some stuff was unlikely. I thought it going to the Nintendo Switch was very likely. I thought it going to Xbox was possible, but unlikely. Um, yeah, so whatever the people who, count the money and do the projections and all that stuff, which who are, way better at numbers than me and way better at math than me, I'm sure they crunched the numbers and saw, okay, what could we make from putting this on this platform? And apparently it was good enough for them. I can't I can't tell them no because I'm not a math guy. I can only tell you from my simple view of knowing, these platforms and the tendencies of the people who play on this platform, it didn't seem like it would be a high yield for them. But um being one of their only live service games that's been successful, I guess they want to put it everywhere. So what does this mean? What does this imply? Um, and of course, there's a strong reaction to this online. A few people losing their mind, telling PlayStation shame on them. I'm like, okay, it's yeah, I gotta relax. It's not a child. You gotta relax. Um, so I think that I mean we're definitely in uncharted territory, right? See what I did there? Um, in the games industry in general, and the whole, I guess the state of exclusives. Are exclusives dead? I still don't think exclusive, and I'm talking about for all the platforms and um for all the platforms and in general in the industry. I think some people are jumping to exclusives are dead. I don't necessarily agree with that, and I'm not jumping that far. And I do think as far as the big 3, Nintendo, Microsoft, PlayStation, they're all in different states and they all have different stances, um, and approaches and strategies. Nintendo is like fully still exclusive, right? And any of these things are I think all of this is volatile and anything is possible. I think so right now Nintendo is fully exclusive and I think that's unlikely to change, but we thought at some point a lot of things were unlikely to change. But I do think Nintendo is still very unlikely to change, but not impossible with their stands on putting games on other platforms. Um as we know, Xbox has gone fully out the window. They've jumped completely out the window where even them, I do think that there are some games that like I at the bare minimum to me with Xbox, there are some games they want to at least keep timed exclusive. Some, right? Because that is literally the case right now. Where it's weird because it seems like there are going to be some games that launch launch on multiple platforms that are coming out, and there are gonna be some games that launch exclusively that are coming out, like Fable, for example. I think well, we know, as far as we know, Fable is going to only launch on Xbox and PC, of course. Of course, I'm not counting PC in this conversation. We're just talking about a console, of course. Fable is still gonna be exclusive, and that's probably gonna be timed, I guess. I would assume so. But something like Gears E-Day, I just assume that's gonna be multi-platform from launch. So that's kinda where Xbox is. We established where Nintendo is. Where is PlayStation? So as of right now, Like I said, this is the first PlayStation IP that they own and that they published, and they're public. This is not a different publisher publishing this on on Xbox. This is PlayStation publishing this on Xbox because sometimes they may do that type of thing where they get a different publisher for it. Um, this is all them, and I also think they had I think Nix's they had Nix's um, help a little bit with the porting for this, from what I saw. Um, so and I do think, even though I don't read these financial reports and stuff like that, because I'm like, I don't really care about that stuff. But the people who sift through it and analyze it, um, they have said that like their live service games, they do want to put those uh I guess, everywhere. And so live service games would definitely go everywhere. I'm at this point with Helldivers 2 going there, if we ever got, that forbidden word that I never say, factions, if we ever got that, it's possible that that would go to other platforms too. So PlayStation, as of right now at least, it could go any different direction from here. PlayStation, as of right now, is open to putting certain games on other platforms, and that's a slippery slope, and it could always go. They could always jump out the window too. As of right now, we've seen them. Like I said, I can't remember everything, but MLB The Show. There was the Lego Horizon uh, on Nintendo Switch. I feel like there was something else, not something they owned, but something they published that went to another platform. I can't remember what it is. So and now we have Helldivers. So it's still possible. I'm not one of these Delulu people who think like, oh, that they're just testing the waters and nothing else is gonna happen. I would never think that. I'm not one of those people. I know if you do something once, you at least have plans to do it for something else. Maybe not everything. Maybe you don't jump completely out the window. Um, but you could be slow walking the dog, right? Where uh you're testing, you're seeing how things go, and you're slow walking the dog, and you could and likely do more. So I would never be like, oh, they would never do this, or that's not gonna happen. I do think some, like I said, some things are unlikely but possible. Because as of right now, they still haven't put like their major tentpole first party games on other platforms. That still hasn't happened. It's just gone to PC, but that is in flux, is volatile. That could change. But as of right now, and people tell me in their financial reports, that's what they say the plan is to keep the first party tentpole games on PlayStation, and other things could go otherwhere. But once again, I don't always believe that shit. I'm not that foolish and gullible to believe that things can't change. So that's the state of all three right now. And things could go in any direction. But ultimately, nothing is absolutely safe. But I also don't believe that I do think it's a bit of hyperbole that exclusives are absolutely dead, that we are living in an exclusiveless gaming industry. I wouldn't go that far. We'll see how things go, but anything is possible. Um, Let me know what y'all think about this. I'll catch y'all on the next video. I'm out. Peace.